say something in the mic real quick?
Hello?
Okay. Yeah, let me see what kind of stickers you got. Is it the ones with like the green thing in the middle? The green like design through the middle?
Like this?
Yeah, I was looking through your Instagram. I see you like slapping those everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was in Asheville, and I was literally like, I was walking to a bar, and I like leaned down while he's checking my ID, and he's like, I can see you doing that, and I was like, yeah.
I have one for you too. Actually, we could trade.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. I got you a couple.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Corinna.
Yes.
Hey. So you say you're coming from the beach. You right here getting tattooed. You got all your tattoos in Newport News?
I got my tattoos like everywhere. I got my tattoos in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. Because I'm from Connecticut.
Okay.
Actually, Connecticut, like Massachusetts line. So like here's Massachusetts, here's Connecticut. I'm like right there.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where I grew up, and I moved to Virginia Beach when I was 21.
So you were in Connecticut the whole time?
Yeah, way more fun out here. Here, these are for you. I got you some options there.
Thank you.
This one is from the art show that I host. It's called Creatives and Drafts Collective. I've done 7 of them.
Okay. How often are those?
I do them like 2 to 3 times a year. It's for like getting new artists out there, connecting them with artists that are already in the scene, kind of like sharing information. A little bit of like diminishing that gatekeeping vibe, you know?
What do you mean by diminishing it?
So like, just kind of, I think that gatekeeping can exist in the art world a little bit, you know what I mean? Sometimes, am I good? I'll try to lean into it a little bit more.
No, because you say you're turning this way, so I'll just get it kind of on this side.
Okay, cool, yeah. I was kind of putting my arm up, getting casual. I'm comfy, it's comfy here. So I mean, in 757, we definitely have a lot of artists that are like willing to share information, and there's a great community. But you still have some gatekeeping that exists in the art world or any creative world, really. And I just try to get everybody to talk to each other. There's artists that's their first time ever popping up and selling art. So artists that have kind of been in the scene, worked with like Mocha, been selling art professionally for a while. They can kind of share a little bit of information with them. Kind of just open door community, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was talking about this with Chrissy recently. She was she had an interesting point. She was like, she says, how she say it? She said gatekeeping to her is like protecting the culture.
Right.
It's like not letting everyone in, but at the same time, we're kind of in disagreement a little bit. I'm kind of on the same vibe as you. Like, I don't really. Yeah, I don't want that gatekeeper role.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think we all can share information and stuff, and then a lot of people will say like the game is to be sold, not told. I'm kind of against that too. Like, I don't have any problem like sharing information or knowledge that I know, because even most of the time, like Gary Vee was talking about this. You know Gary Vee?
No.
He's like an influencer. He's like this older guy. He has a wine company. He has like a kind of like a social media brand or whatever.
Okay.
But he was like, bro, you can even if you tell somebody all the information, 95% of people will not act on it because they're lazy.
Absolutely.
So it's not
Yes.
just knowing something isn't enough.
Right.
You gotta actually like go and put in the work. Like,
I agree. Honestly, I talk about that all the time with people. The reason that you see people doing what they're doing and bringing projects into fruition is because they have that motivation to like go through and do it. Because you can say you want to do a bunch of stuff, you know, you'd be sitting around smoking, drinking, hanging out with people, and they're like, I got all these ideas, but only some of them will follow through and really bring that into fruition, bring it to life. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that's definitely true. Like you can, and I can share, like I could show a whole video of exactly how I paint a painting, step by step with my hands and everything, like my point of view, but nobody can create what I create, you know? So I feel like, especially when it comes to being like a painter and a visual artist and musicians, I'm sure as well, you can share all the information you want, but nobody can replicate exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Like in
You
the
know?
art space. What's your
Right.
also what's your experience with like, and what is this event called again?
It's called Creatives and Drafts Collective.
Okay. What's your like? How did that start? And what's your experience with like bringing people there, like the average kind of consumer out here?
Right.
Because from kind of my experience is like there's still a large percentage of people out here that aren't even aware that there is like cool artists out here.
Right, and that's another reason that it exists.
Or if they like pull up to the event, it might be on some shit like they're doing you a favor to pull up. They're not really like pulling up to experience it and just have like a cool experience.
Right.
I don't know. What's your experience with that?
No, I feel what you're saying. So I got distracted by the alien guy over there for
good.
a second.
That's Larry.
Let me close my eyes. Larry.
He's like staring at you the whole time.
He's like got his camera out and shit too with his
No,
phone.
he's on TikTok.
Right. I feel like we've been really lucky with this art show. I say we because it's just not just my thing. Like I created this platform, but really it was just like to open the doors, like I said, for other artists and to make them feel welcome. We've been really lucky where people come through and they have really genuine intention when they come to these shows. And it's a really good environment. Everybody's vibing with each other. Really no bad vibes up to this point anyways, knock on some wood somewhere. But doing me a favor, I mean, you're always going to have that. You're always going to have some people that are supporting you, not necessarily because of like the art, but because they want to be a part of the scene in the way where they feel like they're doing you a favor. You know what I mean? I almost wanted you to repeat the question a little bit again.
Yeah, like if I go to LA or something, there's a whole crowd of people out there that are like aware of cool shit happening like in the art space in their area, and they'll pull up to these places to experience it because it's a cool art thing.
Right.
But then out here, I feel like I'm not really speaking for other creators. I'm speaking for just kind of the general population.
Okay, yeah.
Like if you have friends or something like that aren't creative, they'll like, I feel like if they come out something, it's more to like they're doing you a favor, like they're just kind of there to support you. They're not really, it's like people don't really have this like craving to experience art stuff out here. Maybe I'm just in a different circle. Maybe I'm not like hip to more people. I don't know.
I get what you're saying though. And I feel like, so I host it at breweries. It's always at breweries. It started, I was at Wasserheim Brewing, and that was like the first one ever. It was literally me and like 7 other people. And I was like, yo, like, I just want to start hosting art shows because I was brand new to the area. So I really didn't like know people like that. And I knew that I wanted to start selling art professionally and get in the scene somehow. But it was so hard because I literally didn't know anybody when I moved here. I started pulling up to like local pop-up art shows that I found just by digging. Like I had to dig, knock down doors. Utopia Fenny.
That's where we met too, right?
We met at 8020 Burger Bar. But
I saw you at Utopia recently, right? That's the last time I saw you?
Yes, okay, I saw you at Tapped In.
Okay.
I think so, on like a Thursday.
So you just found them like on Google or something?
She was somebody sent it to me. They were like, yo, this local art gallery is looking for artists. And it was the first person, Raisa was the first person to put my art on walls in Virginia Beach. And then I kind of started popping up to like the open mic nights and getting a little bit curious. But I was like, how can I get the general population to get interested in this scene and to get them to see how good their local creative scene is? Because it's amazing, but you kind of have to dig to find it. Yeah, so I'm trying to bring it a little bit more to the surface. And I feel like going to breweries like Smart Mouth and North End, there was people that would never have seen that kind of art style or those artists coming together like that. And they just wandered into the brewery on like a Friday. What
was the decision to do it at the brewery? Is it just like they're the ones that said yes, or like?
They were just the ones that said yes. Okay. Yeah, like I was like knocking on doors. I'm like, I just need a space. And I actually worked in a brewery at the time too. I worked at Wasserhund, and I was like, come on, just give me like one night. And it went really well. And then the girl that was the event coordinator at the brewery at the time was like, why don't you call it this? And I was like, that's kind of a mouthful, but let's go for it.
Well, what you just said?
Creatives and Drafts Collective. And I do like the Roman numerals to be like, cool, you know. And I mean, I've done 7 of them now. So like, I can't get rid of the name at this point, you know. And I feel like because it says Creatives and Drafts, it's got to be at like a tap house or a brewery. And they have a good space to use as well. And I feel like breweries and the craft beer scene surprisingly really does see the value in the creative community and how it can be like mutually beneficial. You know what I mean? It brings people in and they got enough space, and they typically are willing to let us use the space without charging. And I always have a nonprofit on too. So that's another thing. I always get like, we got like Pandas Fight Against Cancer, Aid Another. I think it was Stand Up for Kids was the last one. So it's always a really local based foundation or nonprofit. And that kind of instills the mentality like we're here to build community. We're not here to like, I don't know, like back to gatekeeping, like kind of diminish that by being like, we are here to support each other and uplift each other. And that kind of instills that mentality when that nonprofit is there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So is this event profitable for you, or are you donating everything back to the nonprofits?
I donate everything. Okay. So I charge maybe $5-10 per table. That means that it's accessible to everybody, you know, like brand new artists. If they're like, I've never even sold art before, I'm like, all right, well, you got $5, and it goes right to the nonprofit. So I don't benefit anything but good energy.
Yeah. That's commendable too. You know, we want to ultimately do things that can be profitable, and it's not even just about being profitable. It's about being sustainable.
Right.
Because once you actually have a budget and you can make money, you can like do cooler things there. It's funny you do it at breweries too. I have a friend named Ant Perez. He's a comedian. He actually I don't know if he still does that. I gotta ask him. But he was hosting an open mic for like a comedy open mic at a brewery out
Really?
here, and they were actually paying him to do it, which like it was really interesting to me at the time when he told me about it because I didn't really hear about anybody doing events like that out here. Where it's like most times you'll go to a venue and like you'll rent it out.
Right.
And do your event, and they'll give you a price, whatever. But he kind of approached it differently. He was like, "What's your slowest night of the week, and what are you willing to like? What's your budget to throw an event there? Like
Right.
they pay him to throw it because
Okay.
you're bringing people there
Yeah.
on their slow night. So it's kind of it made sense to me when he said it like that.
Right. It's true. Cause I ask, I'm like, yo, can you give me a Friday or a Saturday? And
That's probably like the busiest night too.
busiest nights.
yeah.
And I actually have been able to convince them most of the times to pay for the DJ because I'll print out what they make. I'll ask them for their reports on a night that we weren't there. And then the previous shows, I'll be like, most of the time, like the Bunker, I've worked with the Bunker a lot. They're really chill. And they'll,
That's like that's a pretty big venue, right?
they got a big, that's where,
That's where through the last Disc Freak at, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
And there was also that one, Sonny and Gabe did like a music video shoot there once.
I think I missed that, but okay.
Yeah, they had an open bar. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
It's also cool, like you're talking about like digging. You got to dig and find stuff.
Right.
And one aspect that's cool. But yeah, I think all of us creatives kind of need to do a better job at in like inviting or kind of making everything, just getting the general public out, because the general public out here, they listen to music, they consume art,
Yeah.
they love all this shit, but it's just for some reason they're not looking in their area for it.
Right. And it's got to be
You know?
more than just like the vibe and the neon. You know what I mean? We have the creative districts and those are easy to find, but there's a whole scene. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what Hampton Roads really prides itself on, is the creative scene that we do have. And it brings people in from out of town as well too, but I agree. That's kind of part of what we're doing with that art show as well. You know, it's opening up the doors to new creatives, connecting them with people that know what they're doing, and just kind of making everybody feel welcome and to be a professional artist and show them that like they can do it, you know. I've had everybody from kids that are 18 years old and have never sold art to people that are 50 years old and have never sold art, you know, because I also want to like get people that they might be like, well, it's too late, kind of get them to see that it's not too late. But yeah, and then also open it to the general public too. So both of those things.
Do you have a job right now? Is this like
Me?
Is this your only job? Like you live off your art?
I live off my art full time, which is
Wow.
crazy. It took me a while to get there. I do still bartend on the side, maybe like 1-2 nights a week. And I do that because the extra money is kind of nice. But also, like, I'm a muralist. So I'm staring at walls for like 10 hours straight. You know what I mean? And like, I need some socialization. I need to see and talk to other people. Because I'm a really social person, but my job is not super social. So it's really more for like the social aspect. So yeah, I live off art full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really dope to me. Like
It's
I
crazy. It took
can't
a lot
wait.
of hard work.
God willing, I can get to that level.
Right.
Because like that's people look at success, being famous and shit, but that's that first level of success to me.
Right.
Really be able to just live off of it. Okay, so you come from Connecticut at
Yes.
21. Mm-hmm. Maybe we could back up a little bit. You want to just tell us about kind of just, I guess, growing up in Connecticut, how you even got into doing art?
So I've been painting for most of my life. I mean, when I was like a child, I was painting. My dad was a still life artist, but never when
What's that? Still life artist?
Yeah, so he does like realism, which is funny because he doesn't understand. He's like, what are you doing? Like, I have wicked abstract art, as you can see, and he kind of doesn't understand it, but he's still a creative, but he doesn't practice. He's not been painting for years, since before I was born. I went to Greater
Wait, so still life is just painting like the real world?
It's like if I like took a picture of like a fruit bowl. You know how they have like the fruit bowl pictures are like the pictures you see in like kitchens and stuff where it's like a lemonade. Like, yeah, super realistic. And I do super abstract, so we're really different in that.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. And he was always kind of pushing art, but I went to, when I was in high school, my friend went to an art academy, Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts. It sounds way fancier than it is.
That's in Connecticut?
Sounds really fancy. It's in Connecticut. Yeah, Hartford's the capital. And I was like, all right, I was like, in my public high school, there was just over 300 people in the graduating class in the town that I came from. Super small.
That's average though. I mean, I think it's about 300-400 in mine.
We only had one though.
Here.
One high school for the whole town. Okay, yeah. It was. It's in the
different.
middle of nowhere. There's like cows and like fields and stuff. Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. In the middle of nowhere, cows and stuff. And my friend was like, I'm going to this art school. I was like, I didn't really care about high school that much at all. Had just become a junior in high school, and she's like, you should apply to go here. And I was like, all right, bet. So I got in, and I started going there, and I really enjoyed it. And it's funny because in high school, I hated when people watch me paint. And it's funny because now I'm a muralist, and that's like people watch me paint all the time. But so I graduated from there with a certificate in fine arts. I went to Manchester Community College in Connecticut and studied fine arts, and then switched to science, and then switched to psychology, and then back to fine arts.
Okay.
I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like 19 years old.
Or you feeling like there might not be a career path for you in the art space, or you're like trying to have like a backup, or like?
Oh, dude, I say now that I wish someone had been like, hey, you could be a muralist, because I always talked about like wanting to just like paint on walls. I got in trouble for doing graffiti.
You was tagging them up. Come on.
I was, yeah. I got
train stations.
I did a little bit of
subways.
Goodwill community service though for that.
Really?
So
Oh,
yeah, I try. I don't. That stopped right there. I got in trouble. My parents were pissed, but
Your dad's like, stick to the realism.
right. He's like, paint fruit.
Paint fruit.
But so really, I mean, I wasn't doing art professionally when I was in Connecticut. When I moved here, I just kind of was like, I'm in a good headspace. If anything falls into my lap, I'll move here. The story of why I moved here is kind of silly because I was 21 and we came here for my 21st birthday, me and my best friend Ellen.
Is that the one that was in the art school that told you to go there?
She wasn't the one that told me to go there, but that's where I met her.
Okay,
We've been friends for 11 years. She's a tattoo artist in Brooklyn. She did all that. And so I wasn't doing any art professionally. I moved this girl that I knew that lived in Virginia Beach when I was here on my 21st birthday. She's like, we were like drinking, everyone's like, yeah, I got you shots. I'm like, you should come out. She's like, you should move here. I need a roommate. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, obviously that wasn't like real, but I thought about it for a couple weeks and I was like, what am I really doing? And then I just kind of in 3 months from that point had saved as much money as I could, got rid of like 4/5 of all my belongings and moved my life down here.
And this was like right after you graduated.
I was 21. So between graduation and turning 21, I was like, I was serving. I was like bartending and serving. I was kind of painting, but I wasn't doing it seriously. And I actually lived in a punk house. So I was all over the place. I was like...
In a punk house?
A real punk house,
yeah. What do you mean by that?
So like, like
a punk band?
There was like punk bands would play in the basement. We had like a venue in the basement.
Wow.
Like PBRs scattered about, like real punk house shit.
Yo, I'm weak.
I wore the battle vest. I had like a leftover crack patch on the back, fishnets.
What are those people called that like travel to see like rock bands perform? Like they'll travel on tour with them?
Or like
Is it a groupie?
I don't know.
Like, I wouldn't say you were a groupie in that situation, but
no, because
okay.
I was in one place.
Yeah, I'm weak. Oh yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm trying to think about what I would call it. I don't know.
Yeah. That was just your lifestyle.
Chilling. Yeah, it was a lifestyle. But someone just moved here and I just moved. I just got up and moved. I was just chilling though.
Do you think your dad was the one that inspired you to like start doing art? And also, what's a common career path for someone that does go to school for art? Like, okay, I know you're like a freelancer now, but is there actual like organizations or jobs? Like, what's like a more like, I don't know, I would say a safe job in the art world?
I mean, sometimes I wish I had studied digital art more because now I'm getting into that. It's kind of hard because I'm such a physical artist. Like I've always done like film and paint physically. So I'm trying to navigate like the iPad and the digital art and Procreate and everything. I guess you could say like a designer, marketing career. It's just safe. It's hard to say what is safe for an artist to choose because it's such a risky career. Yeah. Like even still, it's terrifying. I feel like if I wasn't surrounded by so many other people who are full time, like I'm friends with like Amy Bruce and Rosemary Spracklin and Dathan. A lot of people.
Oh, yeah, we had DK on here recently.
Yeah. I see a little signature in the corner over there.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
But being surrounded by people who do it full time definitely makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, and they're always down to like give advice. Those three people really are like no gatekeeping whatsoever. They're definitely open with any questions that I have. I'll be on a job and I'll call Rose and I'm like, yo, what am I doing? She's like, you're fine. You do this professionally. You're good. But I don't know what a safe career would really be, but typical, I guess, would be marketing designer for like a company. You know what I mean? Logo designing. But and I'm kind of like a commercial artist a little bit. So basically, I paint what I want to paint, but I'll also paint what a company requests from me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like right now, I'm working with a nonprofit in Norfolk United Way. We signed a contract, so they're on board. But yeah,
Okay.
because I don't talk too much about companies I'm working with until they do that. But we're designing something for them right now, and it's like my ideas and the flow that I want to paint. But they give me like the colors they want and like some ideas they have about what they'd like to see. So
like, it's more collaborative.
yeah, for sure.
Would you paint something like? Do you like go into a job like you want to have some type of creative input? Like you don't want to just paint stuff that just totally what somebody else came up with?
Yeah. I mean, if it's a logo and they're like, we just want a logo on a wall, I kind of like that because it's like a good challenge for me because it teaches me how to paint like clean lines, and I like doing lettering because it's just really satisfying to paint lettering.
Yeah. So you get out here from Connecticut at 21.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're digging around.
I'm chilling.
Trying to find art shit going on
to the
out
beach
here.
all the time.
That
was the first thing when I got here.
I guess y'all don't have a beach in Connecticut, right?
We do, but it's
y'all
like
do?
really seaweed and rock heavy. You know, it's not that good.
So you're going to Virginia Beach, which actually I don't know if many people out here know. We kind of we have like a legendary beach. Like I think it's either it might be in the world, but it's definitely in all of America.
Right.
It's the longest strip of beach.
Really?
Of shoreline, like beach.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I know Edgar Casey said that we're the safest spot. You know Edgar Casey?
I feel like I might have heard that name. Who's that?
Edgar Casey, man, I should have.
Is he like a YouTuber?
No, I think he's gone, man. He has a museum on like 47th Street or something at the oceanfront, and he was like into like meditation. There's like Reiki, and it's like a massage therapy place. But he also has a whole museum where he like studied butterflies and like he said that Virginia Beach is the safest place to be in the world for like natural disaster.
Like where a natural disaster won't happen?
Like if it does happen, we'll be good. It'll like go around us or something. I don't have enough information to bring Edgar Casey.
I don't know. He might be right. We don't really have too much stuff going on out here. The only time we really had like a bad thing, we had a hurricane in like probably 2006 or something like that.
Right.
Was it Isabel? Hurricane Isabel. For this one, me and my family actually went. We went to Indiana. We got some cousins out there.
Like you got out of here.
So we got out of here for that one for like a week, and it was like pretty bad. But other than that, you might be right. We don't really have much out here.
Look him up sometime. Edgar Casey.
Edgar
he said
Casey?
we're good. Yeah, he's got home museums. I just know there's like butterflies and Reiki.
Yeah. So I guess how long after you got here did you start the Creative and Drafts Collective event?
That was so I started. The first one was in 2019. I started. So when I was 21, I lived with a roommate, and then she actually got pregnant. So I moved out of living with her, moved in with somebody else, and I was painting in my living room, and someone walked in, one of my friends at the time, and saw my painting and was like, yeah, I would pay for that. And I was like, oh, you pay money for this? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. And I sold it to her, and I was like, okay, cool. We got something going on here. Other people like what I'm doing.
Get into it now.
We're getting into it. Because I was just painting because I wanted to paint.
Yeah.
And then...
You never even like thought about trying to sell a piece until she was like...
I think I had thought about it. Like when I was in Connecticut, the first year out of high school, there was a thing called Real Artways, which is kind of like their creative district in the city. And I had popped up with my art, but I didn't take it very seriously. So I wasn't really focused on selling it. You know what I mean? But no, until she had said that, I really was not even considering that it could be like a career. And when you were saying earlier about careers and like, what are realistic careers, I definitely do think over time, I talk about it all the time, how one day I'd like to start a nonprofit. I don't know how to go about it or really what my main goal would be, but I know that I would like to maybe try to get some kind of class in, even if it's just in specialty schools or something in high schools where it talks to like teenagers about the potential art careers they could have. Because I thought I was going to be a wedding planner. I didn't even know.
Which actually is probably great money too, though.
Great money, yeah. Super stressful, but good money. And
you're working with people in like the most
like
stressful days of their life. Not stressful, but like the probably the thing you like plan the most for.
Right. Can I like move this up?
Yeah.
I want to touch it.
Yeah, you're
good. I don't want to break this. But
so you wanted to be a wedding planner.
I wanted to be a wedding planner, but I didn't really know. Like I didn't take high school very seriously. You know, I'd be like, oh, I'm sick. And I'd go snap in the nurse's office.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were skipping a lot. I got expelled. But.
Right. I was sleeping. I loved sleeping. I still love sleeping. Shout out to
Me
sleeping.
too. I sleep every day.
But I would, the alarm would go off at 6:30. I'd be like, nah, not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a night owl for sure. So
There's a lot of things in schools that should be taught.
right,
that
and
aren't.
they should just like the spectrum of creative careers is so much bigger than I thought it was. Like I'm saying, but I like I would be like, okay, 19-year-old Corinna, you could be a muralist. I didn't care at 19. Like I say that I wish I knew, and maybe it would have changed things. Like I would have started a little bit sooner, but realistically, you can't go back in time and motivate your younger self to do something that you weren't motivated to do at the time. You know what I mean?
I think that's all part of it. Even like going through those phases of feeling unmotivated or not knowing what to do. I think all that's part of it, 'cause that's ultimately how you figure out. Like it's weird for me. Like a lot of times, I'll think back like when I was like a little younger, and just how where my mind state was. Like it was hard for me to focus. It was hard for me to like sometimes talk to people. It was like a lot of the things that like now may be my strengths. They were not my strengths. But it's almost like that's the reason they are, because they weren't. So it's like I focus on it even more, and it's like really try to craft it into something else.
Right.
And over time, it just becomes that other thing that you put the time into.
Right. You said you weren't good at talking to people?
There was a period in the
Right.
In the beginning, I was like earlier on in my life, and then I feel like when I graduated, I became a little bit socially awkward, because it kind of like I feel like we go through as like you're like all throughout school, I was pretty saying good at talking to people, but then like you kind of become secluded once you graduate. It's like a new feeling. You're not around other people every day all the time, so it kind of changes it for me a little bit.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. But you went to college. I didn't go to college, so you continue to interact with people every day.
Right.
But I didn't go to college. I just started working kind of construction,
Okay.
and so I
You're
think
just
that
on the site.
yeah, so that
Yeah.
kind of it was a change in my life. It was one of those things where I realized like okay, like it was one of the moments when I realized like okay, different phases in your life that happen will affect you in a way, and I started feeling different. So that's kind of like when I realized that. That might sound weird. I don't know.
No, I get it. I kind of they all contributed to where you got
Yeah.
and needed to happen. Like I was a little shit when I was 19, but now
Yeah, I was definitely an asshole, I would say, back in the day.
public speaking. Oh my god, I was so bad at public speaking. I'm a lot better now. Like this, I probably wouldn't have done this like 3-4 years ago. Actually, Utopia Funny had that one thing where they had the red chair event where they had like city council members come. Like Nina Goodall was there.
Maybe I probably seen it like on Instagram. Yeah.
I was like kind of new to the area. I didn't really know people yet. And I remember Poetry Jackson was sitting in front of me, I think, or next to me. And I was like, yeah, let me get up and ask my question immediately. Got up in front. I was like shaking like this. I had to literally shake in the video. I'm like trying to shake it off. I couldn't even barely get my question out. And then I sat down. And when I sat down, I kind of like fell in my chair. And I kind of like my foot hit Poetry Jackson's chair, and I was like, "Oh my God, not Poetry Jackson! She's so cool." Now we're chill. Now we're homies, So it's funny. Years later,
Remember that time I kicked your chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Even that's different too. That's a whole other skill too in itself. Speaking on stage.
Yeah.
And for like even like this, I guess this could be public speaking, but
right.
I kind of don't even feel like it. I feel like this is more like to me like this is. I think I'll be nervous if I went on stage maybe, or like well, I mean I've been on stages before too, but I think that's a different skill.
Right.
Like on here we curse too, we do do different shit. So it's like
I was gonna ask if that was okay
to really
with that
like
guy.
be a professional speaker for like a brand or like a company that's like doesn't want you to do certain things.
Right.
I don't know.
I'd be holding my drink
Drink
like,
my coffee,
shaking
spilling
it
and shit,
everywhere.
I like iced coffee. So yeah, okay. So you're like, how do you get usually get gigs for like mural stuff? Is it like you're like word of mouth or?
It's like a mixture. To touch on where I started with the murals, because selling art, that was like I kind of started to pop up, and that was cool and everything. I did Artist Block with Jeff Tarkenton. He hosts that, and that was chill. But Rose was actually the one where she was like, I just need an assistant because I got this job. It's massive, and I got no time to do it. And I went and helped her out. And the moment the paintbrush touched the wall, I was like, okay, this is like what I would like to do. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
And that was like a paid gig.
She paid me to assist her, yeah, and I had never even painted before. And then after that, I painted chemistry, and that was my first job ever. I think Gamble had posted on Facebook. He's like, I need a muralist I need someone to paint this hallway. And I was like, yeah, like I'll paint the hallway. And I tried to show up to the meeting. I'm all trying to be professional. I got a contract. It doesn't even make sense. And then Rose stepped in and helped me out. But so in the beginning, I feel like it was me reaching out to people all the time. Like I'll literally would walk into a business and just be like, hey, that's a really bland looking wall. Have you ever considered doing something with it? And literally just like talking them into getting a mural and asking straight up, like, is your owner in? So kind of like cold calls. You know what I mean?
You can have somebody else, like, pay somebody else that's, like, not you to call them and just, like, shit on it. Or just, like, pay, like, 5 different people to, like, throughout, like, a month span to walk by. Like, that's, like, real ugly wall. Like, and
just be like, ooh.
And they put it in the owner's head, like, y'all do need to change that wall up.
Just be like, hey, I would love to spend my money here, but I just can't stop looking at that wall. Yeah. So the moment you get that covered up, let me know. That's
so
funny.
You're, like, cold calling.
That's a good idea. If you need a side gig, let me know.
But me?
Right. You could just go into the businesses and be like,
I'll do that well. I'll be like, what the fuck is up with that? Like, yo. I'll be like, bro, if you don't get a muralist in here.
That was the most casual little, like.
Sit my food up.
I thought about, you could even, I was like, I'm not actually going to do this. I'm just saying, but you could always just go graffiti the wall, and every time they cover it up, graffiti it again, and they cover it up and be like, hey, how much are you paying that person to cover this graffiti up? You could just do a mural, solve your problems right there.
Yeah, art. Yeah, I feel like art definitely brings value to the city. Like,
yeah.
You know, Asa Jackson.
Who?
The Contemporary Arts Network.
Asa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Asa,
yes.
Yeah. He really got me hip to that. Like, just how valuable it is in the city to have cool art stuff. That's what brings people there. And then he also kind of just made me understand that the city does care about it.
They do.
They might not be doing as much as they could, but from what he tells me, from what I see, they care about it. They're putting funding in certain spots. And
for sure.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation. I have like 3 other girls. We meet up and we all just work on our projects and we talk while we do it, like maybe once every other month. And we were just having this conversation Jackson Pollock. He's like...
I don't know too much about the art world and stuff.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Jackson Pollock was an abstract artist from... You know Jackson Pollock? No? He was from like the 60s or something. I'm dropping a lot of names for not having a lot of background on them. You could Google it. Jackson Pollock. He's definitely long deceased by now, but he was an artist during a time when the city was kind of trying to recover from like a financial depression.
What city?
What's that?
What city? Okay, my bad.
I could Google it. I swear to God, I know what I'm talking about. He's like a...
I swear to God, I know what I'm talking about.
Like, you go to an art museum, like a state art museum, you might see a Pollock. You know, he's like as well known as maybe like not as well known as Dali, but he's up there. He's a historic figure for artists. And he was salaried by his city. So, like we're talking maybe like $30,000 a year, like a normal salary, whatever. At that time, probably crazy.
At that time, probably like 100. That's how,
Right, something. And so he didn't have to worry about like painting at a certain rate or anything. They were just like, look, like the city, basically I brought it up because the reason that was so interesting is because the city had just gone through a Great Depression, and they were like, we need art to kind of uplift everyone's spirits. So one of the first things they turned to kind of get everything back on track and get everybody stimulating the economy and working and just being happy and productive again was putting art publicly, like in the public eye. You know what I mean? So I feel like murals, especially right now with everything we've been going through in the world, I do feel like art has a high value. Almost kind of like a Renaissance vibe, to be honest.
I feel like we're in like a Renaissance right now.
I do too.
Really, probably sparked by technology and the fact that there's way more people that are able to create and put something in the world. Like before, you probably used to have to be with some big company or some big thing to even create something that will be seen.
Right.
Now anybody could just make some shit, put it on the internet.
That's so true, and it's like, some people have a fear that they don't want to create, like you're saying earlier, with people that you can share knowledge and everything, but they're not going to do anything with it. They could be like, oh, well, it's too oversaturated. I mean, we're in a really unique time right now because, yes, anybody can put their stuff out there, but it's also like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? We're seeing so much more art that would have been kept indoors and behind closed doors. We never would have seen it before. So,
yeah. And there's also fucking hundreds of millions of people out here, billions of people. So it's like, I think there's enough to be fans, or there's enough for like everybody to have fans of this shit.
Right.
And you can be fans of multiple things. So it's
there's
not like
room for everybody to
It's not like I gotta love your murals, but now because I love yours, I have to hate D. Kane's murals.
Right.
Like, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're making these cold calls.
Yep.
Getting these first muralist gigs.
I'm up people's butt cheeks.
Yeah.
I'm going out and talking to like trying to. I'm just driving in my car, looking at walls, looking at the business name, looking them up, calling them, being like, hey, is your owner in? They're like, who are you? Like, really, like, I was annoying in the beginning, and you can even ask Raisa, like, I was annoying in the beginning. She was like, who are you? Like, why are you so, like, up our butt cheeks? And I'm just like, I'm hungry. Like, I want to be a part of this. And
You have to be that way, though, I feel like.
you do. And, I talk about that a lot, too. Like, you really got to be obsessive about it to get it going. And believe in your shit a lot, to the point where, like, people are like, why is she so, like, hype about her own work right now? Like, I want to know what's going on with it. Because clearly there's a reason that she believes in it this much, So I was cold calls, and then it became word of mouth, people's friends. At this point right now, I feel like I'm booked out until the end of May, and I haven't made a cold call this year. So very lucky. But it took me a while to get to that point, because now it's 2023, and I started this in 2019. So the whole first year really was cold calls.
Charlamagne the God said something funny. He said you got to have a DJ Khaled level of annoyance.
That is so true. Yes, you do.
What I mean? So you're booked up until May. How do you go about scheduling? I guess about how long something will take you. So you kind of schedule it based on days.
Try to.
And also I feel like another thing with being doing creative stuff or art is pricing your stuff.
Right.
How do you go about pricing your art and that type of stuff?
That was so for paintings. Everybody says I should charge more, so I try to up the price a little bit. But for paintings, it's like how many hours did it take? But you also got to factor in like your creative, I guess, intelligence. Like, I don't know if that's the right phrasing for that. Like, how much previous knowledge that you already had that it took time to gain did you put into that piece? So for paintings, it's kind of like all over the place, but for murals, it's by sorry, I'm trying to make sure that you can hear me. Yeah. For murals, it's by square foot.
Okay.
So I charge by the square foot. That includes my supplies. I don't include gas in that because that depends on where the mural is. But it's is it indoors, outdoors, and then what kind of wall? I did a corrugated metal wall for Big Ugly Brewing in Chesapeake. And that was like crazy. Like that took me 3 times the amount of time.
Is that the ones that's like?
It's like.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's like way more detail. You got to go and like.
You literally can't paint a straight line. You have to go like that, and it will drive you crazy. I thought I was gonna lose my mind on that mural. I think I lost part of it, and I was like on a lift. It was like 37 degrees in like the wintertime in December.
Holy fuck!
Right. So there's all kinds of factors. Is a scissor lift.
Okay, I've been on those. I seen one of your pictures. You had the fucking scaffold suit. I'm an electrician, like for my my day gig. So yeah, I've been on like scaffolds and lifts and shit. I know that can get scary, like up there wobbling and shit.
Right, because I was on a sidewalk.
Okay. Yeah.
So the sidewalk, I only had so much wiggle room. So when I was backing
windy,
it up,
so it's like
windy, and I'm getting confident, so I'm like going faster.
I'm weak.
Right.
It's funny. My boy Abedin, he was like the foreman at one of his jobs. So he had the main key for like all the equipment, this lifts and all that. And I guess they're all the same. So this is in Newport News. We're in DC one day. This was like a few years ago.
Oh no.
So he had his key and there was a scissor lift there. So we're like DC, like bro, like probably like midnight. So there was like, I guess there was a construction site, but it was closed. Like they went home for the day and they had their lift out there. So he's like, watch this. We're drunk too. So he's like, watch this. He literally gets in this lift. I guess his key worked. He turns the shit on. They're all the same key, I guess. So he turns it on. He raises it up and he's riding around DC in the street in this lift and we're drunk, just like laughing and shit. I was like, bro, you are crazy. Like,
that's so crazy. And it's like beeping loud.
I can't remember. It was probably beeping.
That noise is driving you crazy right there. I heard that in my sleep.
I was asking you too. So what's the biggest mural you ever done, and what's the one that I guess took you the longest?
Took me the longest.
Most time you spent on one.
Honestly, probably the Big Ugly one was the biggest and the longest because that was about 300 square feet. Holy
fuck!
Right.
That's big as shit.
Yeah, it was huge, and it was all corrugated metal outside. And it took me, so I actually had to go home for Christmas. I thought I would be done before that, but I wasn't. So I worked on it for like 2 weeks, came back, worked on it for 2 more weeks. So probably like a month.
Oh, so this wasn't
total.
In Virginia?
This was in Virginia, in Chesapeake. I went to I had to take a break and go to Connecticut and come back because it was Christmas time. I had to see my dad. But probably a month, one straight month.
Holy fuck! How much did you spend on the lift to rent that whole time?
So I actually convinced them. I said, I'll
You got it
charge
for
you this
free?
per square foot if you pay for the lift.
Okay.
So
Smart.
if there's a lift or like equipment that's gonna cost like $800 to $1,000, I'll try to convince them to pay for it. So that, and I pretty good at negotiating, you know. So they paid for it.
No, that's. I mean, honestly, that's respectful. You
Right.
can't really get mad at that.
Right.
Yeah, this is what we need to get it done. So I don't really think I should have to pay for this.
Right. And if I do, like I can pay for it, but I'm just gonna add that price on to what we're already doing. So
I try to negotiate, or I try to like tell people to like donate stuff a lot of times. Like our first event we threw was actually at the can like
Yeah.
a few years back. It was like a charity event for the can, and I got a dunk tank, and I was like, we had people getting dunked and shit. It was like a show, but we had people getting dunked outside, and yeah, they donated it. I was like, we're doing I know. Well, actually, I didn't even lie. I was like, we're doing a charity event, which it was, and they donated it. It's funny because I actually just called that same rental place today trying to see if they would donate it again for something else because we wanted to use it for a skit. They were like, nah, it's $150 plus tax.
damn.
Like,
You said, but it's me. Remember me?
yeah. So
Damn, you got them to donate a dunk tank.
yeah, it was
Hey,
actually
if it's a charity
it was really cool actually because we had like a showcase, right? All the ticket money we donated to the Can Foundation, and then we had skateboarders like skating all through the shit, all throughout the
that's
show,
so dope.
and then we had outside rappers and strippers getting dunked on the dunk tank. And also the dunk tank was like fucked up because you didn't even really have to hit the target. Even if you hit it anywhere near it, it was janky. It would just still dunk
They
the person.
said, we're donating our shitty one.
I felt cool though. Like I felt like, you as a kid, you going to carnivals and circuses and shit. You seeing dunk tanks. And I'm like, bro, I'm renting a dunk tank. I'm driving with the pickup truck. I got a dunk tank on the back. I'm like, oh yeah, like
Right.
It felt cool. Like I felt like a big kid or something.
Right. Your inner child was like, this is dope.
Even like I love you said that, like inner child. Like that's how I feel like I feel like I tap into my inner child just doing creative shit.
Oh my God.
I feel like this is literally a way to like stay feeling young forever.
Yes.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
completely.
It's
agree.
like I don't have too many other things in my life that really bring me just a sense of like pure joy.
Yeah, and I feel like tapping into your creativity is the like best way to keep that alive for real. Because I think about that all the time. Sometimes I'd be like so grateful. I have to like chill. I'm like so much gratitude because I do feel like if my younger self, like 13, 12-year-old me, could see what I'm doing now, be like ecstatic, super hype about it. I literally get paid to paint walls. You know what I mean? And I paint like I do the watercolors. Like I gave you one of the stickers. It's like a naked lady with plants coming out of her head.
Okay.
I have two different styles of art. It's abstract and then the watercolor. The watercolor is a bunch of naked ladies with plants, and then the abstract is just kind of like brush strokes and continuous lines.
I see you had one. My bad, cut you off.
No, you're good.
It was like kind of like similar to this, but I feel like the arms and the legs were kind of like
Oh yeah, the one
up and down type thing.
What was it?
I think is that a new one, right?
Yeah, Transcend. I actually just painted that when I went to Asheville for my birthday on April 5th. I just turned 27. But I was in the mountains in Asheville, and I went hiking for like 7 hours that day, and we saw like waterfalls and everything, and we were just smoking and chilling, and I painted that for like 7 straight hours. I looked up, I was like, oh, it's 3 a.m., I gotta go to bed, but I painted that all in one go. I was inspired by the mountains.
Do you go to the mountains a lot?
I try to. I feel like we're really lucky because where I moved from, we definitely didn't have so much like available for like national parks and everything.
I had the Seaweed Beach.
Seaweed Beach, yeah. Yeah, we had Seaweed Beach. We had some national or state parks. There was like nice. I miss fresh water, like fresh bodies of water, like rivers and lakes and stuff. But Virginia and North Carolina have a lot of nature. And my friend moved from Connecticut to Asheville. Pretty much all the friends I made in Connecticut don't live there anymore. I got friends in like Vancouver, Asheville, Brooklyn. Nobody's really in Connecticut anymore.
Yeah, I have one friend from Connecticut. Ryan's from Connecticut. He says his mom still lives up there and everything.
Like it's chill. There's not a lot to do.
Yeah, we have a lot of nature out here.
it's
Really, it's cool because like the part we live in, like right here, you're a couple hours away from any type of vibe.
Yes.
We're a couple hours away from DC.
Right.
We're a couple of, so we got casinos, you got big cities. We're a couple hours away from mountains, like nature for real. Like I got into a little vibe where I wanted to go stargazing.
Oh yeah.
I never actually went because like my friends didn't like. Everybody was bullshitting. Nobody wanted to go with me. But I was like researching it for like a year. It was like, yo, I need to get into this. I never did, but it's like yeah, like there's like a couple spots like 2-3 hours away from here where it's like good for it.
The dark
There's
sky
not,
parks.
yeah. I haven't heard about that, but it's
Yeah, I
like
got the.
they're just where there's not a lot of
I love.
light pollution.
I love Virginia State Park. Sorry, I have my debit card just chilling right here. I always think about that.
Wait.
But I love Virginia State Park. So I work for the Vibe district in Virginia Beach a little bit. And
is Raisa on that?
What's that?
Is there Raisa on that?
I think she
board?
was. She was actually on the city, Virginia Beach City, because the Vibe District is technically a nonprofit. That's kind of why I brought Jackson Pollock up a little bit ago. The city used to directly pay artists like that. And then you see nonprofits like the Neon District and the Vibe District because they help funnel the money to the artists now so that the city doesn't have to deal with directly paying the artists because they don't want to.
Why?
Too much to figure out, I guess. Too many details. They don't know
they
how
just pay
to price
this one
it.
person and they're in charge of paying everybody else.
There's like a lot of kind of like the nonprofits, like the Vibe District can handle all of the creative aspects because they have the cultural arts affairs and department for the city, but the Vibe pays stipends directly to the artists.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like probably the city probably looks at it like instead of having to really be tapped in with all the artists and paying everybody, we'll just give them the money and let them handle all that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's why I brought it up originally earlier because they used to be a lot more direct to the artists, the cities, but now they have districts to handle that for them. But I was working for the Vibe and I did the Green Travel Conference. Sometimes she just pays me to pop up in the booth. I give tours of the Vibe District too. Freelance very hard, so I do a lot of different stuff. I like to be in a different environment all the time too. But when I was there, the Virginia State Parks dude was there, and I was like, "What's up? Big fan of the parks. I'm a big fan." He gave this to me. I was like, "That's dope. Cool. Now I don't lose my debit card all the time." And I got a pamphlet in my car for the dark sky parks. You got Natural Bridge.
Wait, you told him you were a big fan of what?
State parks. I was like,
what?
Like
that's random.
Nature. I was like, I'm a big. I don't know, man. He left. I figured he would vibe. He did vibe. I was like, I'm a big fan of what you're doing.
So he gives you. That reminds me of. Is it on Family Guy when the Ollie the weatherman?
Yeah.
He's like, damn, nature, you scary.
Yeah, that was really me. But like, I was like, damn, Nature, you're beautiful, man.
That's hard.
And then he's like, here's your I got so many pamphlets in my car.
So
compost.
Have you been stargazing?
I have. I went to Natural Bridge and it was crazy. Oh my God. I got an Airbnb. My friend had a wedding out there. So I was like, perfect. I'm going to get like 4 days. So I'll go to the wedding, but I'll also kind of check it out. And Natural Bridge was beautiful. It's that big, massive rock that formed and then it has the water underneath it. And I went hiking, but I had an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere, dude. I was in the middle of nowhere.
It was like a cabin?
It was like I was like, there was this woman named Brenda. She was a super host.
Yo, shout out to Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda.
Holding it down.
And she had this massive piece of property with this main house. And then there was like a kind of like a cabin garage thing. It was nice as hell.
It was attached to the house or it was like off?
It was off. Okay. So I really wasn't around other people. And it was like midnight. And I was like, let me get out here and do some stargazing now. All right. Because we're close enough to Natural Bridge. And I opened the front door and I saw this deer and it was looking me right in the soul. And I was smoking a little bit. So I was like, I'm having a moment with this deer right now. We were like connecting. And I closed the door. I was like, that was crazy. But I'm still trying to stargaze. So I opened the door again, 7 deer. I'm like the deer whisperer at this point. They're coming to me clearly, and I looked up and you could see like the Milky Way. You could see everything. And you have the, if you like stargazing, it's called Sky Guide. The app.
Yeah, I feel
and
like
you can literally hold it up and it shows you all the constellations and everything, and it can give you all the information about like literally every star.
Wait, so you weren't scared when you saw these deer? Like you didn't?
Like at first I was.
You
but
came
then,
back outside
like,
and you were like stargazing, and they were just like chilling next to you.
They were so close, not right next to me, but so here I am. That chair right there was a deer, and I was a little scared. But then like I kind of moved like this, and nobody like freaked out, So I was like, all right, cool. That's why I said I'm the deer whisperer. We connected.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I was like, why are these deer not running?
All the hunters out there are like, beginner's
deer
luck.
whisperer.
Beginner's luck. Like, you want to come out hunting with us?
Maybe they had like a baby deer with them too. They're like, we're chill, we're a family.
So that's the only time you stargaze?
No. Oh my God, I went to Maine in 2022 with my friend. We went to her family cabin. That was really middle of nowhere. Like you drop a pin in the forest, you hear it kind of thing. And we went out to the dock that was on this water. It's called, Bath, Maine? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Bath, Maine. It was kind of close to there. super dark, like no city nearby, and that was the most stars that I've ever seen besides Natural Bridge.
Are you bringing a telescope, or are you just looking at
We didn't bring a
binoculars or
telescope. I
anything?
wish I did, but we just like laid on the dock and like looked up for a couple hours, and we stargazed for like 3 hours.
Dude, when I first seen the video, I want to say it's from Hawaii. Have you seen those videos?
Where it's like crazy.
Where you can literally see the fucking Milky Way?
Yes.
It's lit, bro. Have you seen this? I gotta show you this, bro. It's literally like, you're like, this is not real.
Right.
It's like you can, like, you really realize that we're on this fucking, like, our planet is like a spaceship, bro. Like, literally space is right there. We don't see it. We don't see the sky. But, bro, when you watch that video and it's like, bro, that's really what's in the sky every night.
Right.
It's like, bro, I feel like it changes your whole fucking perspective, bro.
It does. It really does. When I was in Maine, I swear to God, like, you feel so small. You know what I mean? When you're looking, and she's like, she's all into the stars. So she's like, hey, you see that one? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, this is how big it is. I don't even know like the measurements she used, but I was like, damn, we're not shit. And it makes you feel super small, but like we had like an existential moment out there stargazing. And I was like, dude, I'm accepting death right now. I'm totally cool with it. Like I was totally cool with it. Like I don't want to. Like I love being alive. I love my life. But I was cool with it, you know? Yeah, it was really cool feeling. Stargazing is really cool.
Yeah, I think the best spot in the world might be in it's like a planetarium in Hawaii, I want to say.
In Hawaii. So Hawaii is like the spot.
That's what I heard.
I heard the desert.
The desert?
Super good, yeah.
That'd be fire.
Right. I don't know which desert, but I heard the desert.
Yeah, they just sent up the I want to say recently, maybe last year or this year, the James Webb telescope. I don't know if you're hip to that.
I've heard of it before.
It's like this new. I guess up until now we've had some whatever other telescope. This one is like way better.
Good.
They're already learning a bunch of shit. I think I just watched a video recently. They realized that with this new telescope, one of the things they saw is that everywhere where we see like just stars, where before they thought it was just like stars, now they're realizing it's all like mini galaxies.
Yeah.
So it's that when you're seeing the stars, you're not just seeing like individual stars. Those are all literally individual galaxies, pretty much.
That's crazy.
And that just like makes shit even seem like even bigger. I don't know. I feel like in our lifetime we really might be in space for real, like in a real way.
Oh, for sure.
Like we got the International Space Station.
Right.
They're about to drop. They said this like I think like right before the pandemic, but they're supposed to be making some type of like space entertainment place where it's gonna be like sports played up there. There's gonna be a casino, hotel, it's just in orbit and like hotels and shit. And
man, the first thing we wanted.
So they said that's coming in 2027.
That's crazy.
They said it's gonna open in 2027, but I don't really see how it's gonna happen because I don't even think they started putting it together yet. So
I'm like, can I even afford?
Yeah, well, the only way to make it probably profitable for real, if you want like a lot of people to go, is to make it affordable. So it's probably it might be one of those things where like
affordable casinos in space.
Yeah, like I mean, you better go up there and lose your money anyway.
Right.
But it's like one of those things. It's like one of those things where the payoff is comes later, which kind of interesting too. Like there's a lot of companies like that are created. Like you look at something like pretty much most of Elon Musk companies like Tesla, SpaceX, all that. It's like there's these companies that are made which are like funded by even sometimes it could be from the taxpayers, but sometimes privately, but that won't pay off for like 30 years, 50 years, and they know that. It just, to me, is just crazy. Yeah, I think that's just crazy to me. Just having something to you're working on for really that long,
right?
And being able to like stay focused on it for that long, and like you're like have the idea evolve because you're gonna evolve over time. So it's like it's like having this idea kind of grow with you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because 30 years is like a third of a life almost. You ever heard of Andromeda?
Is that a planet?
Andromeda is a like a little galaxy.
Okay.
And when we were in Maine, you could see Andromeda. It's I think it's the only universe or one of the only universes that's visible to the naked human eye. And Andromeda is the only thing. So we're moving farther away from everything, Earth. And I
think everything is moving. Everything is like moving apart.
Yeah.
Type shit.
And Andromeda is the one thing that is coming towards us. I mean, it will take like 1 billion years to get here. So it's like
going the opposite way of everything else?
I guess so. Like it was, I don't know. Eventually it will probably collide with our universe and they'll possibly become one, they think.
It's just going to be lit. Literally.
Right.
It's going to be
a
big ass flame. We're all going to die.
No, but we might not die. We might just become like a big ass, one big happy universe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Like you live in a time, whatever, like we live in 2023 right now. It's like we're aware of all these different times and shit in history. But I don't know if you're I think we live in a real pivotal time right now, and I don't know if any humans at any point in history are like have that thought like going through everyday life, like, oh, this is gonna be a time let's talk about history books. I don't know if anybody really says that, like the average person, but really these times in like 100, 200 years, if humans aren't going extinct by then, if we don't have World War fucking 3 or whatever, they're gonna be talking about these times, like, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they write.
Right, like when you said
because now you can't
Renaissance-
lie unless they like knock down social media and shit and erase the internet. But it's like there's like records of everything that happened. So I think that's kind of crazy too. At this point in history, like everything is so much more documented than ever before. Like,
right, yeah, that's true. I never really thought about that. Everything, there's so many firsthand accounts, which is kind of new too. It's not just like people writing things in like a book, and if you find it, you know about it. But if you don't find that, you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn, but also now I'm thinking about the AI shit, and once it really gets to like the level of where they can make a video of you, somebody that looks just like you saying something,
right?
Then it's like, damn, then they're gonna like
me.
make it hard to believe anything on the internet,
right? And it's already kind of getting to that point with the deep fakes. You know what I mean? You heard of that?
Oh yeah, I seen the Tom Cruise ones.
Right.
They're really good. Yeah.
I'm like, that's not Tom Cruise. They're making him say crazy stuff. I mean, as long as they don't like Alexandria Library us, you know what I mean?
What happened there?
You know about the Alexandria Library?
They burned it down, I want to say?
They did, yeah.
Okay.
And that had like a lot of historic documents. So that's why people are like, we don't really know what to believe because they burned that down for a reason, obviously, trying to hide something. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on AI art right now? I know a lot of artists kind of don't like it.
Man,
what
this is
do
a
you
hard
think?
topic.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I got a lot of backlash for saying this, but I was like, well, it seems like something that was going to happen, you know. Obviously, I don't think AI art holds nearly as much value as art created by real humans, you know what I mean? It's irritating because you literally can see like AI art is not even something that they create from scratch. It's literally artists' work put together and meshed together to make something new. But you can actually see artists' signatures that they forgot to get out of the AI art, like in the portrait thing that everybody was doing. You could still see remnants of signatures from real artists that had painted things that AI had ripped from. So obviously that's terrible. There's no credit to the artists. So that's not good. I don't necessarily have like some artists were like, yeah, we're screwed. Like we're not going to be able to make money off of this anymore. AI art is going to take over everything. I don't think that's true. It goes back to like the whole nobody can replicate what I do thing. The AI art, it's a cheap, easy way to get things done, but it's not even close to the real thing, you know?
You walk in the spot, it's a robot doing a mural.
They already have that.
He doesn't even need a lift.
He doesn't need
his
water.
legs just extend. His
Damn,
leg just
I'd be like,
he just
damn.
shoots up and his legs like
They
become
save
20 feet.
$1,000.
Yo,
They have machines that like print murals onto the wall. But again, like that brushstroke, that like, why would you get a mural instead of a decal? You know, you're getting it because you want to see the handmade part of that, like the brush.
you want to get back to the community, the artists in the community. You want to
give back, yeah, but
like,
it just
you wanna-
looks better.
looks better. Fucking. I think it's probably just a tool.
Yeah. What do you?
I think artists could use it.
Right.
Too. Like if you're into like we're talking about digital art earlier, it's a tool. Like we've seen a lot of music videos already that are being shot with. It's not shot by AI. It's still shot by the person who's doing it. They're still putting it all together, editing it, but they might use a little piece from AI or like one my friend Bandboy. He shot a video. I'll show you after. Whatever they do the video, and then there's certain parts in there where his face will literally turn into claymation.
Oh, that's
and it's
dope.
like kind of like twisted up and like.
And that's
I'm
AI.
pretty sure they did it with AI. This dude RXK Nephew did like a whole music video with it. So I think it could be it's a tool that artists can use,
right?
Type shit. And then but now as far as like the everyday person that just wants like art, it'll just become one of those things like you'll probably recognize like, oh, this is an AI thing. It's like one of those apps. It'll become just like a generic thing.
Right. Kind of like you're saying like there's room for both to be needed, kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean there's definitely room for both to like exist and shit.
Like it would still be necessary, even if there's AI art and even if it's like taken off and working and people are buying it, there's still a need for like handmade art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving into a new world, man. They just opened up the first McDonald's with no humans in it. I want to say in
that's like that movie.
Houston, maybe somewhere. I forgot now. But yeah.
Like what's it called?
The robots are flipping burgers.
How do they know if I like it medium rare?
You feel me? Like, what if, I wonder if the ice cream machine works now at the one that's
Nope.
no humans at.
The robot tells you
The
it's
robot's
broken.
like, in the robot voice, like, says the ice cream machine's done.
That's creepy, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Like that movie Smart House from Disney?
I want to say I've seen that, yeah.
She got pissed.
Yeah, like the mom, like the robot mom. Yeah.
She turned on them.
Hell yeah. So you're doing these commissions right now, getting gigs, you're making a living off your art.
Mm-hmm.
You said you bartend a couple nights a week.
Right.
I guess, yeah, like, where do you, like, what are some of your maybe goals, like future goals, or where do you want to take this to? You said you want to start a nonprofit.
Eventually, I would like to start a nonprofit that teaches kids just about their possibilities with creative careers and helps fund art programs in schools, because United Ways is a nonprofit. It's nationwide, but they have a branch in Hampton Roads, and they specifically give money towards art programs in schools. But I don't see any foundation or nonprofit that's specific to that, because one of the first things that gets cut in public schools is art programs, because they're like, well, that's not necessary, but it is, I got a couple companies that I would say are like goals, like Mellow Mushroom. It sounds funny, but
We have one out in Newport News, yeah.
yeah, we got one in Virginia Beach now, and it's so creative. The Mad Steez has a mural out there.
I actually did I put some lights up at the one out here.
Really?
In Town Center, I want to say it's called.
And it's crazy, right? It's
Yeah.
like super creative. So I would love to paint for them. And then High Wire Brewing, they're a little bit more in North Carolina, but I would love to paint for them. I would just like to get to a point where I'm painting, I mean, maybe like big canvases. I would like to get to a point where I'm painting really large canvas pieces that cost they got a big ticket on them, so I can live off of that for a while, and then I could worry less about like deadlines. I would just like to paint bigger things that I can live off of longer. I don't know. I like the path that I'm on currently. So if I could just keep going at the rate that I'm going and keep working with larger businesses, eventually bigger chains, you know what I mean? I got my eye on like a Dunkin' Donuts, surprisingly.
Come on.
Yeah, they got a lot of balls.
You don't know me that well, but I'm a Dunkin' Donuts fan.
You're a Dunkin' fan.
If you look at my page right now, my pinned post, I may or may not be in the drive-thru working at a Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay, yeah, I would love to paint for like Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah.
So just keep getting bigger. I would like to work for either create like an art department for a city, or work for a gallery. Maybe one day go back to school to be an art curator, because you do need a master's degree to be like a museum curator.
Okay.
So I would just like to, really the past year got me to a point that I wanted to be at. So now I'm kind of in the point of setting new goals, you know what I mean? Because I've met those goals. I'm happy and proud, and just bigger companies, bigger pieces, and keeping maybe creatives and drafts go somewhere. I did have a company recently that I can't mention their name, but they reached out to me. They want to work with me because they saw that art show. They saw what's happening. They like it. So maybe something happens there. That becomes a whole thing. It's taken on its own life. So I'm curious to see where that goes. You know what I mean? And maybe, eventually I would like to start a team. A lot of people start muralist teams.
Okay.
Like in Brooklyn, you got Overall Murals and Colossal Media, and they have teams of like 20 artists, and they get hired as a team. So they'll just send people out.
And they'll all work on the same piece?
No, they'll be working like different pieces at the same time in different cities. You know what I mean? I would like to travel more for art too. That'd be cool. Working like more of the 50 states.
I was telling DK too, like, I think it'd be cool, like, if there's more like stars in the art field. Like
Right.
we have music stars, athletes, we have, stuff like that, movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really hip to, like, I don't see any mainstream stars that are like graffiti artists
Like how
or
Andy Warhol was
muralists
kind of
or
like a star.
Who, Andy Warhol?
Yeah.
I think Asa was telling me about him. But yeah, just like I think it would be cool to start seeing more.
Well, if that's
stars
gonna
in
happen
that field.
anywhere, if anyone starts that, it's definitely Hampton Roads.
You think so?
Because we got that vibe out here. You know what I mean? Like I met you at the party at 8020.
Which party was that? You said it earlier. Now I can't remember now.
Ah man, it was fun.
Where's 8020?
8020 Burger Bar is in Norfolk.
Is that the one
It was before Christmas.
where you walk in? There's a patio. You go the
Yeah, we had met on the patio because I was like, I was smoking and you were smoking. And I was like, what's up?
I want to say, was I with somebody with face tats?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. I was with Cam.
Yeah, Gabe had a DJ set there.
Yeah, I
think
remember that. Yeah, I've been there actually one more time after that.
was Burke there? Burke Visual?
I think that was the night that Lowplex was there, and he had the shit where you can text the image
Oh my
to the
god!
screen.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so fun. There was some weird. I was taking selfies with people. We'd do like mad double chins and shit, and then we send it there, and we see it up on the screen, and we're like, yeah.
I actually sent a picture of Larry holding a smoothie.
Yeah.
He was up there.
People were saying like cat. I sent one just to see if it would get up there because I was like, damn, they really anything you text, they put it up there.
Yeah.
I sent like a cat in a sweater
Um,
just because I could. It was like
Yeah.
one of the naked cats, and it had like a little sweater on and a little hat, and like I love that picture. So I was like, everybody should love. I was drinking. I was like, everybody should love this. But that was a fun idea. I love how they do the backdrops and have fun with that.
Okay, so I guess so tapping it. So being someone that's aware of like art stuff in other areas, you would say that out here we do have a strong presence and it's like solid.
It's crazy. There's a reason I'm still here. Like I planned to be. I didn't really plan much of anything when I came out here. Of course, I came out here on a whim. I was like, let me just see what's up. I was 21, try something new. I was like, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. And it's been, July 1st will be 6 years. And I have a friend that's moving from Brooklyn to come out here to pursue her art because she thinks that she would have a better shot here than she would there, which is crazy. Yeah.
That's different.
And she's not the only one saying
bro?
that.
I was like, people are about to start moving to VA for this shit.
Yes,
I was
they
talking about more like the
are.
music and everything, but I get that's included. But I've been saying
creative
that.
scene out here is insane. It really is.
That's crazy. I love to see it. I feel like that really might be a fire spot to leave them at. We like an hour in. Do you want to touch on anything else? You want to lead the people on anything else? If anybody wants to hire you,
yeah, what's up? Hire
that'll
me.
be in. Yeah, if
bookings,
you need some murals
live
done.
paintings, commissions. If you want me to paint your dog, I will. I guess.
When is the next? When is the next creative?
The next creatives and drafts.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm working on planning that right now.
You put the mic up a little bit. My bad. Yep.
Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. The next creatives and drafts should be in probably July. I would say June or July. I do them 3 times a year. I'm looking at doing it. I can't say the brewery name yet because I have to get them on board with it. But I don't have the set date yet. But if you follow me at Corinna Elise, he'll tag me, obviously, so you know what that is. But I post the artist call, and the artist call is anybody can apply to that. Like I review every application. It's all me. If there's any questions, literally the DJ, the venue, the curating, every aspect of it, I do all of it. So everybody has a fair shot at getting into it too. So if anyone wants to apply, feel free. It doesn't matter if you're known or brand new. Everybody's welcome. So.
And they're always in Virginia Beach. They've all been out there.
They're Virginia Beach, Norfolk. I try to show love to all parts of Hampton Roads because I do feel like we could stretch this out to like Portsmouth, Hampton, Newport News, wherever.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, I appreciate you for coming through.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in. All her links will be in the description. Yeah, we're gonna see y'all soon. Peace.